These are the tiny gardens, what the micro-gardening community calls healing balcony gardens, sometimes no bigger than a doormat, that are quietly changing the mental health of millions of people around the world. This is the complete guide to healing balcony gardens, and the science proving that a few pots of the right plants can measurably rewire your stress response. We spend more than 85% of our lives indoors. Let that sink in for a moment. By 2050, more than 2/3 of the world's population will live in cities and towns. For a growing number of us, a balcony represents the only sliver of outdoor space we'll ever call our own. But here's what the research reveals. That sliver might be enough. In 2015, researchers at Chiba University in Japan discovered that actively interacting with indoor plants suppresses sympathetic nervous system activity, lowers diastolic blood pressure, and promotes what they described as comfortable, soothed, and natural feelings. Simply touching soil and tending to a living plant shifts your body out of fight or flight and into rest and digest mode. Studies show that gardening can lower cortisol levels, the body's primary stress hormone, within just 30 minutes of activity. Margaret Burchett at the University of Technology in Sydney measured a 37% decrease in tension and anxiety when people worked in plant-rich environments. 37%. Not from medication, not from meditation, from plants in the room. This isn't some fringe wellness trend either. A 2024 Umbrella review and meta-analysis confirmed positive associations between gardening and well-being across multiple studies. Meta-analyses on social and therapeutic horticulture revealed large and significant effects for depression and moderate effects for anxiety. The numbers tell the story. The standardized mean difference for depression was -1.01, which translates to a large clinical effect. Horticultural therapy is now being adopted by hospitals and healthcare systems as a legitimate healing tool, with organizations like the American Horticultural Therapy Association establishing clinical standards. So why does this work? The answer traces back to a concept coined by biologist Edward O. Wilson in the 1980s, biophilia. Humans have an innate affinity for other living organisms and natural systems. We evolved surrounded by green, and our brains still crave it. This connects to the Japanese practice of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, which has demonstrated similar forest system benefits. Two theories support this connection. Rachel and Stephen Kaplan's attention restoration theory suggests that natural environments replenish our cognitive abilities, reducing mental fatigue and sharpening concentration. Roger Ulrich's stress recovery theory proposes that exposure to nature activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's built-in calming mechanism. When you step onto a balcony filled with living green things, both systems engage simultaneously. Now let's talk about what to actually grow, because not all plants offer equal mental health benefits. Start with lavender. A systematic review spanning 11 studies and nearly 1,000 participants found that 10 of those studies reported significantly decreased anxiety levels after lavender oil inhalation. Lavender proves superior placebo in reducing anxiety, depression, and even systolic blood pressure. Here's what fascinates me. Lavender oil gets absorbed within minutes of inhalation and reaches peak plasma levels in 60 to 90 minutes. Your balcony lavender isn't just pretty, it's pharmacologically active. Give it full sun and well-drained soil, and it'll thrive in a container. Next, consider lemon balm. This plant has been used for centuries to tone the nervous system, and it's specifically recommended for insomnia, stress, irritability, and fatigue. It prefers partial shade, making it perfect for balconies that don't get all-day sun. Chamomile is another powerhouse, known for gentle calming properties and easily brewed into tea from your own harvest. Rosemary may improve cognitive performance and reduce mental fatigue, and jasmine, with its sweet aroma, has been shown to calm the mind. There's a reason scent matters so much here. The processing of olfactory memory takes place in the hippocampus, situated in the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain. Encountering a pleasant, familiar odor has a direct positive impact on well-being. When you brush past your rosemary every morning, that's not a random nice moment, that's neurochemistry at work. Beyond aromatherapy, there's air quality. Back in 1989, NASA partnered with the Associated Landscape Contractors of America to study how common houseplants could clean air in sealed environments like space stations. Researcher B.C. Wolverton, who later wrote How to Grow Fresh Air, tested dozens of species. The results were remarkable. Chrysanthemums removed 61% of formaldehyde, 53% of benzene, and over 41% of trichloroethylene. Snake plants are unique because they produce oxygen at night. Peace lilies tackle formaldehyde, benzene, and ammonia. Spider plants battle carbon monoxide. Now, I need to be honest with you. Later research showed that to match the air exchange rates of a typical building, you'd need somewhere between 10 and 1,000 plants per square meter. So no, 3 pothos won't replace your ventilation system. But in a small enclosed balcony space, a dense collection of these plants can make a noticeable difference in how the air feels and smells. And the psychological benefit of believing your space is cleaner and healthier, that's real too. Let's get practical. Before you buy a single pot, check your building's rules. Some buildings restrict balcony plants or limit them to flowers only. Most building safety codes require balconies to support 60 pounds per square foot, which will handle most gardens. But if weight concerns you, choose plastic or fabric. Grow bags over ceramic. The most critical factor is sunlight. Spend one sunny day photographing your balcony every couple of hours, from sunrise to sunset. This simple exercise tells you exactly what you're working with. South-facing balconies are ideal. North-facing, you can still garden. You just need shade lovers like ferns, hostas, impatiens, or begonias. Wind is the hidden challenge of balcony gardening. Strong gusts, dry soil fast, shred petals, and topple tall pots. Heat reflecting off windows can intensify sun exposure and burn delicate foliage. Position fragile plants away from glass and anchor your containers securely. For space, think vertical. Walls and overhead areas represent free real estate that most balcony gardeners ignore. Using the vertical gardening technique, hanging baskets, railing planters, and tiered shelving can triple your growing area without touching the floor. Use the thriller, spiller, filler method in your containers. A tall, showy plant in the center for height, trailing plants that cascade over the edges for lushness, and compact plants filling the gaps. For containers, start with at least 12 inches in diameter and depth for most vegetables, and 8 to 10 inches for herbs. Remember that balcony plants dry out quickly, especially in full sun or wind. On hot summer days, you may need to water twice. Finally, create a retreat, not just a garden. Think of your balcony as a tiny outdoor room. If you have space, add a small folding table and chair. If your location is noisy, a small bubbling fountain or wind chimes can layer soothing sound over the urban hum. Surround your seating with your most fragrant plants, the lavender, the jasmine, the rosemary, so that every time you sit down, your limbic system gets the message. You are safe, you are in nature, you can rest. 70% of millennials now call themselves plant parents. Gen Y and Gen Z are spending more time gardening than any previous generation at their age. The home gardening market is projected to nearly double to over $26 billion by 2034. This isn't a fad. This is a generation recognizing what the science has been saying for decades. Your balcony garden doesn't need to be big. It doesn't need to be expensive. It just needs to be alive. Because in a world where we spend 85% of our time sealed inside walls, a few square feet of green tended by your own hands might be the most accessible form of therapy there is.